Andrew Parnell will be the defense attorney conducting the direct examination of Danielle Redlick. This is as big as it gets. Michael Gottlieb's still with us from Bayview, Florida. Michael, this is what it all comes down to.
Yeah, the stakes are incredibly high. Putting her on, absolutely. I mean, it's a bold move, and it might be looked at as a desperation move that they have nothing else. But clearly they indicated they have additional witnesses to follow. So let's hope that she explains her, self-defense, and the witnesses do what the defense thinks they're going to do.
She's being sworn in. Let's go in.
And would you please state your full name for the record? Spell your first and last name.
Danielle Redlick, DANIELLEREDLICK.
Mr. Parnell.
Hi, Ms. Redlick.
Hi.
Were you married to Michael Redlick?
Yes.
How long were you married to Michael?
15 years and together for 18.
You have 2 children with Michael Redlick?
I do.
What are their names?
Jaden's my daughter and Sawyer is my son.
How old are they?
Jaden's now 18 and Sawyer's 14.
You live in Winter Park
Yes.
in Orange County?
Yes.
Ms. Redlick, on January 11th, 2019, did you stab your husband?
I did. Yes.
Why?
He was suffocating me. I couldn't breathe, and he had me pinned down.
Can you explain more?
Well, I was scared, and I was just in fear for my life. He had thought he snapped, and I could die.
Why were you in fear for your life? Why did you think that you could die in that circumstance?
Just how he had me pinned down, and I couldn't breathe, and so just the look in his eye, his anger, and I couldn't get away.
Were you trying to get away?
I was.
You're trying to use something besides a weapon to get away?
Yes.
Do you have any choice but to use a weapon to get away?
No.
How many times did you stab him?
Once.
Was this the first time that your husband had ever attacked you?
No, but it was one of the worst, I'd say, scariest.
Prior instances of physicality between yourself and your husband, are those things that you were aware of prior to January 11th, having experienced them yourself?
Yes.
Are those things that informed your decision or your awareness of your fear
Yes.
that you testified to on January 11th?
Yes.
Let's talk about how we got to that point.
Okay.
When did you first meet Michael?
I think it was like 1996. I was about 22, 23 years old.
What were the circumstances of you meeting him?
Well, I actually met him through my mother. He and I came together under kind of unique circumstances, but prior to us, he was actually dating my mother.
Was that the extent of the relationship that he had with your mother, dating?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did they go beyond dating?
Yes. They had a kind of spontaneous marriage. Yes. She had...
When did they get married?
I think that was in 97.
So was Michael your stepfather at one point?
I guess technically, however, I didn't look at him that way.
How long were they married?
Just under, well, they were only married, I think, 6 months. They were together a couple years.
So they were together for a couple of years?
Yes.
And how old were you during that time?
22, 23 years old.
What's the age difference between you and Mr. Redlick?
21 years.
So how do we go from stepdad to something else?
Well, my mother and my stepfather had split up after 20 years, and my mom met Michael, and they started dating. And she discovered shortly after they were dating that she had an aggressive stage 4 breast cancer. And she only had so long to live. And so they got married in Vegas. And within 3 to 6 months after that, she passed away. And so they had been living in a home together with my 2 younger siblings. I'm the oldest of 5, actually.
What's the age difference between you and your siblings?
I think the youngest would be 13, so I was like 25 at that point.
So how much older than your sisters are you?
At least a decade, but there's 5 of us, so they fall all in between.
But you're the oldest?
Yes.
Okay. So if you can continue explaining how the relationship between you and Michael goes from step-parent to wife.
So after my mother passed, the 2 younger children were in high school, my younger brother and sister, and they were living in the home with Michael and my mother. And so after she passed, my younger brother went to live with my stepfather, back with him, and Michael had asked me if I wanted to move in, that he would continue to rent the home that they were renting so that my sister could at least finish another year of high school where she was. And so I agreed. And I was working and going to school at the time. And that's kind of how things got started. We were just
What was
friends.
he doing? What was his employment at that time?
I think he was working for the Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers at that point.
Basketball franchise?
Yes, but then switched over to the Cleveland Browns.
A football franchise?
Yes.
In Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio.
Correct, in Cleveland.
Okay. So did you move into the home?
I did. Mm-hmm.
How does it progress from there?
Well, I mean, we were just kind of handling the domestic duties with the kids, sort of, and I was working, and he was encouraging me professionally, and sort of became friendly, was very supportive, and there's time of loss for both of us, and we sort of bonded. And eventually it turned into a romantic relationship. I was going to school and working part-time at one point, or at that time, and he started coming up to the place that I worked. I was a bartender at night, so he started coming up to all the shifts that I was working and just visiting with me. And after that, he started inviting me to do more things together. And we and I grew to enjoy it. And he was kind of worldly and smart, so these are new and exciting things for me. So at some point, it turned into a romantic relationship.
You say that he was encouraging you professionally. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was young, and like I said, I was going to school. He had a lot of contacts, a huge network, and I think he had introduced me to some of his contacts, and I got my first real professional job, I guess you'd say, through him, and just kind of entering the business world.
Was that in Cleveland as well?
It was in Cleveland, yes.
Okay. So we've gone from you moving back in, helping with the domestic duties, to you being at work, him coming to work while you're working and going on dates.
Yes.
And at this point, does it continue to progress into a romantic relationship?
Yes, and that was over a period of time. It didn't. We were friends, and I didn't really look at him that way. It was a couple years at that point before it became a romantic relationship.
Okay. Was he still living in Cleveland, or did he ever leave?
He was living in Cleveland, yes.
Okay. At some point, did he leave Cleveland?
He did.
Did you guys leave together?
Yes. Well, no, not initially.
Tell the court how that came about.
Well, he was pretty ambitious with his career at that point. He had practiced law for 13 years and went back to school later in life to pursue his passions in sports. And so that's when he started to work for, the Cleveland Browns and the Cavaliers and professional sports teams. And he was looking for other opportunities, and he was moving up in the industry pretty quickly. So there was an opportunity that came upon him to move with the Memphis Grizzlies, an NBA team in Memphis, Tennessee. And he was excited about it, and he actually got the job, and it was a big move up for him.
At the time when he got the Memphis job, were you guys living together?
We were.
Was it your siblings there as well, or was it just you and Michael?
My sister was there, my younger sister, yes.
So when he gets the job, do you move together, or does he move on his own?
He asks me to move with him, but at that point, I hadn't really disclosed to my family that we were actually seeing each other. So I wasn't entirely comfortable with it, just because he had been with my mother, and it was just kind of a little bit weird. So I told him no, that I wanted to also stay back with my entire family lived in Cleveland, so I wasn't willing to do that at that point.
And do you remember what year this would have been?
2000-ish?
2000?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did that change? Did you make it to Memphis?
Yes, at that point, he was buying me plane tickets just about every weekend. And so he was flying me to Memphis and show me around. And so I think after a year of that, one time he picked me up at the airport and he said he had a surprise, and he took me to a place called Mud Island, where it's a beautiful neighborhood on the Mississippi River in Memphis. And he pulled up to a home and he went inside and he said, "I bought this for us." And it was a beautiful house, it had a pool, and it was on the river. And so from there, I went ahead and made the decision to go ahead and move to Memphis.
So you were there on a visit, and he told you that he'd already bought a home for you?
Yes.
Or for you together?
Right.
Okay. At this point, how was the relationship?
It was good. I mean, like I said, odd circumstances how we came together, but it was good. We enjoyed our time together.
And how did the rest of the family view this at that point?
I think the sister that was living with us, I think she took it kind of hard, which I don't blame her. I think people were a little bit shocked, but other than that, didn't have much to say about it.
So you moved to Memphis.
Yes.
You're living with Michael.
Mm-hmm.
How do things progress from there? How's the relationship once you make it to Tennessee?
It's good. Memphis was a new southern city to me. We were enjoying our time there. I got a job in the radio industry. We were both working.
You said earlier that he was helping you, assisting you professionally. Was this
Yes.
a job that Michael had assisted in you obtaining?
Yes.
And how so?
Well, his job at the Grizzlies was, he was somebody that was well connected in the community. He was to entertain sponsors and bring on that kind of partnerships. So he worked with a lot of the companies in the area, and he was able to introduce me to people. And so I was able to get a job that way.
At this point, do you have any children yet?
No.
So we're a few years in Tennessee.
Yes.
During the early stages while you're living in Tennessee, was there ever any tension or physicality between you and your husband?
At times, yes.
How would that come about?
Through arguments, sometimes alcohol-related sort of thing. At times it would escalate. I started to notice that he would get physical when he was angry, very angry, or if he drank too much. A lot of manhandling kind of thing.
Can you describe to the jury what you mean by that?
Just grabbing me in the, by the arms a lot, sort of a controlling nature, sort of dominating. At times, slam me up against the wall, kind of stuff like that.
Were there ever times when it was more than just grabbing you?
Yes.
What was the first time that you can recall something happening that's more than just grabbing you?
Well, actually, the first time would have been back in Cleveland. There was one incident. We were coming back from a concert. I had saw an ex-boyfriend at a concert, and he was accusing me of wanting to have gone to the concert with the ex, and we sort of got into an argument about it. And I remember I made an offensive comment, which I wouldn't make today. I called him. I said at least he wasn't Jewish and cheap. And he backhanded me in the face, in the mouth, and my mouth started bleeding and my nose started bleeding. And we were in the car at this point. And so when I got to the red light, I wanted to get out of the car. And he grabbed me and I grabbed him back, and we kind of just went back and forth in the car. And we actually got pulled over.
So that's
The very
the
first.
first time that there was some...
Yes, that was the first time he.
physicality.
Yes.
But the relationship did not end at that point.
No, that was actually, it was just beginning. And then he explained to me that he was sensitive about those sort of comments because he had grown up with some of that kind of thing that bothered him. So I
Was
really
able to
just
move
kind of
past
dismissed
that.
it. Pardon?
Were you able to move past that incident?
Correct.
So as you get into Memphis, is there any more scenarios situations where it becomes physical between yourself and Michael?
Yes. And one particular incident, I remember he was coming home from work every day and he was pretty agitated. Something was really bothering him. I just remember that it was something, had to do with something with two of his bosses. And he was coming home and he was pouring a drink each night. And I was still pretty young at that point, so I grew up in a house where you eat dinner every night. And I noticed that Michael, when he would drink, he would skip dinner. And so he was doing this by the third night. I started to wonder, are you going to keep doing this? I think I'm just going to go ahead and, if you're not going to eat dinner, I'm just going to go down to the river. There's some, a city walk where they have some shops and eateries and stuff. And when I said that, he got irritated and said, "What, are you mad because I don't want to have dinner with you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, kind of at this point," because I said, "How's the wallowing working out for you?" I said something sarcastic. And I went to head to the door to leave, and he was near the door, and he moved in front of the door. And I tried to shove past him, and I feel like at that point he raises his fist and he just crossed me in the face, and I feel like, I don't know, like he took out every frustration that he had that week on me. And the next thing I remember was actually laying in his lap, and he was stroking me, and he was apologizing, he was crying, and I had looked down and I had blood all over me, and he was telling me how sorry he was, that he's going to take me out to a nice dinner tomorrow, and he wanted to go ahead and take care of me, let him take care of me that night.
Did this occur in the home?
It was in the house, yes, right before I tried to leave.
Were you injured as a result of this?
Yes, and so I noticed that I had my tooth was chipped, and so I told him, I said, I need to go to the doctor, and my face was hurting, and he said, let me just take care of you tonight, we'll talk about that, and so I did. And the next day I called off work. I told him that I got into a car accident. He went into work and he came home early, and he said that he had talked to the team doctor, Dr. Azar, and that he was going to take a look at my face. And I said,
Objection narrative.
Sustained. Pick up your question.
Was this to set up an appointment?
yes,
And was that done?
it was.
Did you meet with the doctor?
Yeah, and I said, you told him what happened? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, he goes, and I was surprised because I didn't, and he said, well, if you go to a regular or another doctor, I could possibly go to jail over this, so.
Did you, for this incident that you described, did you tell anybody what had happened at that time?
No,
Did you tell the doctor how it had occurred?
no.
How come? What would make you not want to tell or not describe accurately how you had sustained injuries?
Well, he didn't ask. I was sort of prepared to tell him if he asked. However, I was also embarrassed, and Michael and I had discussed it.
What you described a moment ago about buying you a nice dinner and apologizing and taking care of you afterwards, is that something that would happen when there was physical incidents between yourself and Michael?
Yes.
And how would that make you feel as that's happening after a tumultuous event?
Well, after a while, it started to make me feel like, I don't know, just sort of violated, or, that it could happen again. Started, become fearful a little bit.
And is this prior to your daughter being born?
I believe it was.
When was your daughter born, Jaden?
Jaden was born in 2003.
So at this point, with the increased violence that's occurring and your fear that something may continue to happen, why not leave the relationship at that point? What is your mindset is what I'm asking for not leaving.
Well, there was still a lot of good. I didn't feel like that was overpowering it. And like I said, he was apologetic, and I felt like he loved me, and I felt like it was still worth being invested.
Did you love him?
I did, yes.
And at this point, you haven't been married yet?
I'm sorry?
At this point, you guys are not married?
No.
Okay. And when did you get married?
2004.
2004, in Memphis?
Yes.
Why Once you're married, once you have your daughter, how does the relationship continue?
It's actually, I would say that it was really good. Right after my daughter was born, we were both just ecstatic over our little girl, and things were going pretty well. We were kind of big fish in a little pond in Memphis sort of thing. I was working with a radio group, and he was the Memphis Grizzlies, and it was kind of exciting.
Did it stay that way?
No, it didn't. It didn't last to the point where it was, without tension, problems.
So after your daughter's been born, talk me through how it goes from a happy marriage, good times, to less good times.
After a while, he was getting pretty unhappy at the Grizzlies. There were some things going on. There were some changes being made. I know at one point his immediate boss left, who had been with him there pretty much the full 8 years that we were there. And when he left, Mike was passed over for the promotion. He would kind of be one of the natural candidates for the position, sort of acting CEO. And he was upset because they actually promoted a chief financial officer.
Is this something you observed?
Yes, he talked about it often, a lot. He was miserable about it, actually. And that's right around when Sawyer was born.
What year was Sawyer born?
2008.
Still in Memphis at this point?
Yes.
The tension coming from work, is this leading to more arguments, more physicality?
Yes. Yes.
Leading to more drinking?
Definitely more drinking, yeah.
What kind of things are we seeing as a result of all these?
He was agitated and just preoccupied with issues, so mean at times, less attentive, and that kind of thing.
Were there other specific instances of physicality that occurred while you were living in Tennessee?
Yes, there were times that, like I said, there was a lot of manhandling, kind of control things. I remember him slamming me up against the wall quite a few times. Like he would punch the wall next to my face, scaring me, kind of thing.
So when you say slamming you up against the wall, can you describe that with a little bit more detail for the jury?
Just grabbing me and then pushing me up against the wall, and but not pushing me, more slamming me into a wall, basically.
Okay, so I see you moving your arms just a little bit. Is that the sort of force that we're talking about, or is it heavier than that?
At times it was heavier. He put his hand on my throat a lot. But other than that, that was pretty much the extent of it.
Can you describe putting his hand on your throat? What do you mean? Give some detail on that.
Just when I'm up against the wall, he'd have me up by my throat like this, and just yelling at me in my face. Or he'd be punching the wall next to my face while I'm pinned up against the wall. And sometimes, yeah, there was a lot of pinning me down, a lot of manhandling kind of thing, and closing into my space,
When this is happening, what you've described is the manhandling, the controlling, the physical holding you down, how do you respond? What are you doing?
Well, oftentimes I'm either pushing him off or trying to get away. I remember in those days in Memphis, my sister had moved to Memphis at that point, and a lot of times I would just leave and I would go to my sister's until he would cool down, because when he did get really angry, it did get physical.
Often?
If he was really angry, yes. And yeah.
Would you ever fight back physically?
I say, yeah, I would at times. Mm-hmm.
How would that go? Like, what would you do?
Pushing him, I'm probably hitting him on the chest. And I think at one point I did, when he had me pinned down, at one point I did headbutt him. And I think it might even loosened a tooth, one of his teeth.
Was that able to stop him that day?
Yes.
Danielle Redlick on the stand in her own defense. saying that she lived through several incidents of abuse until that night where she admits that she stabbed her husband, who used to be her stepfather, she says once in the shoulder. We're going to take a break as we approach the top of the hour. You won't miss any of this, though. We're going to pause it, and Julie Grant will be here when we return, and we'll pick it up right where we left off.